So I went to Louisiana for Uber. And let me tell you the details of that. I live in the deep south of Alabama. I don't really care if people figure out where I live. It ain't like you're going to know my address. But I live in the deep south of Alabama. There's a town about somewhere between like 10 to 20 miles north called Satsuma, Alabama. So I get the ride request. It tells me it's going to be a long ride. I say, all right, whatever. I go up, pick him up. The minute he gets in the car, he's like, my previous two drivers have canceled on me. Do you understand where you're going? And I was like, it's telling me Opelousas, Louisiana, which for those of you who don't know, Louisiana is kind of shaped like a boot, and then it comes down like that. So Opelousas is literally right in the center of like right above the boot. So it's a very long drive. It's about
from where you are.
Yeah, it's about a 2.5 hour drive to New Orleans, and it's about 2 hours extra to get to Opelousas. Yeah, so I got him. I was like, fucking sure, I'm gonna do it. I got him. I started driving him at about 3:45. I got home at about 1 a.m. Now, ride was fine, made great money, no problem. But I made several discoveries in this drive. One is gambling's legal in Louisiana, but it's not just legal in Louisiana. It's extremely popular in Louisiana.
It's popping.
Yeah, so I drove by, I counted. I want to say there were somewhere between like 17 and 20 casinos I saw from the minute I got off the interstate and was going through the highways in Louisiana. Easily like 15 to 20 that were a gas station, and then attached to that gas station the way that you would see like a Subway or something in most towns was just a casino. And there were so many of them. And then I was like, fuck, I've been driving for 9 hours. I'm so hungry. There's nowhere open but truck stops. I get to the Loves. I'm dropping the guy off because he's picking up a truck. He's a truck driver. Or he's a truck returner.
A trucker.
Like his job is when people quit on the job and abandon a truck, he goes and gets it. And so...
That's a unique job, at least.
Yeah, from the way he described it, he doesn't make shit. So I don't really know why you do it, but
travel, I guess.
Maybe. But he went, got the truck. I'm there at Love's. I just got paid. So the first thing that happens is my Uber app goes, "Oh, you're trying to drive in a new city," because that long of a drive when you end it, right? It was like 4.5 hours there. So when it ends, since you didn't receive any other rides, right, in that long of a period of time, Uber takes you offline, assuming that, you're done. And I mean, I was going to drive home and go to bed. But since it took me offline, the way it normally does, I went back online to try to get my money, which you don't have to. It was like, I messed up. I just hit the wrong button. So it goes, "Oh, you're trying to drive in a new city. Please call and contact support to set up your account in your new city." So I can't withdraw my money. I have no money. I can't buy gas. I'm at the gas station. I can't buy gas because I have no money. I can't withdraw this money. I have no cigarettes. I haven't eaten I started working well before that, so I haven't eaten at this point in like 8 hours. So call Mallory, my girlfriend. She sends me money for gas on Cash App, sends me a little bit extra for some cigarettes. So I get the tank full, buy some cigarettes. I'm back on the road, driving back home. As I'm getting near the on-ramp to the interstate that will take me out of Louisiana, I notice that it has taken me a completely different route than the way I got there in the first place. And I didn't care about this until I realized, and I did not realize this until I got home, that it was driving me through the bayou. Now, the bayou...
Down in the bayou.
The bayou sounds like something for a lot of people, but I'm going to tell you, what you don't know about the bayou is that it is constantly filled with a misty rain of bog swamp, like water. So, I don't have a better way of describing this. I drove through it. I was occasionally smoking a cigarette as I drove, because I spent like an hour on this highway. And I get back. Well, I have other stuff to tell about before I get back, but we'll come back to that. So I'm driving through the bayou. I'm looking for somewhere to eat. Everywhere's closed. Even fast food's getting closed at this point because it's like almost 11. And I start to think, well, okay, there's got to be like a little shitty hole in the wall, like dive bar or something that has food. And I see one, and it's called Cajun Jane's Bar and Casino. So I went, okay, great. I could stop here. I'm 30 years old. It ain't like they're not gonna let me in. I can stop here and get some food and be back on my way. I stop and park in the front. I look into the windows and I realize they're all blacked out. So now in Louisiana, you don't have to do that for a casino. So the only thing is it's a strip club. So I go, oh, fuck me. Okay, put the car in reverse, get back on the highway. Googled it later when I got home. It was, in fact, a strip club. Kept going. Then I get to Mississippi. In Mississippi, I see this, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It looks like a house from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it was a gas station. I stop there because it's well lit. I'm like, sure, I just need food. So I stop there, get out of the car, going to the gas station. It is run by the angriest looking old lady I've ever seen in my life. If I didn't know better, I'd say it's hers, and business is not good. So I go in, and I see that they have, like, shitty little pre-wrapped sandwiches. So I go, okay. I check the dates on them. They're still good. I've had this brand before, so I don't care that deeply. I buy a shitty little, like, chicken salad sandwich, like this prepackaged. I get in the car. When I get in the car, I open it to eat it as I'm driving, and oh my god, it fucking wrecked me. I was like almost to the Alabama border when I was like, I gotta stop. I have to get off this interstate, and I have to obliterate this bathroom. So I do. Then I get back on. So
you had to drop war crimes.
I did. It was awful.
Bathroom.
So I did that. Got back on the interstate. Finally got back to the wheel around 1. Side note, my girlfriend was supposed to stay up and, well, said, not supposed to, but said she was going to stay up and wait for me, but she got wine drunk. It was passed out when I got home. But
that's also kind of funny.
I know.
He's not here. But just wine drunk on the couch.
But exactly, she was on the couch. But no, when I got home, everything was fine. Got my account unlocked, got my money back, explained to them that, I wasn't moving to Louisiana. And I go to bed. When I wake up, so I didn't sleep. Went to bed, couldn't sleep. Just could not fall asleep. My girlfriend and I decided we're going to go down to the beach that day. Go outside, get ready to get in the car. It looks like Shrek was hoisted upright over my car, had his legs spread, and was simultaneously shitting and jerking off onto my car at the same time. The whole thing, from the front all the way to the trunk, all over the windows, it literally just looked like someone had dipped my car in the swamp. That's how fucking nasty that rain out there is. And
sips Gatorade.
Mallory, of course, goes, what happened to the car? I was like, I guess fucking Louisiana happened.
Natural causes happen.
Yeah, I mean, I drove through the bayou. I knew what I was doing. But no.
When you said bayou, I lost my shit, like, on the inside, because I meme about the bayou all the time, because we play Hunt Showdown, and that takes place in the bayou. So I'll be randomly talking, we'll be playing Civ, and I'm like, going down to the bayou. Now I'm gonna add going down to the bayou, where Shrek's gonna fuck my car.
Exactly. It's nasty as hell. And ironically, the next day, after I stayed up all that night, me and Mallory went out, but then I worked the next day, so 2 days after this, I was driving a guy, and he was from Louisiana in Alabama, and I was literally talking to him about the bayou, and he was like, oh yeah, I fucking hate that. And I was like, yeah, I know, it's a thing. It's a real thing. It's awful.
Well, that was a fabulous story, and I would just like to say, to everyone out there listening. Welcome to the Fluffy Biscuits podcast, where me and my good friend Zach, aka Pixelated Trash,
hate Louisiana together.
Hey, no, well, maybe a little bit, maybe just the bayou. Of course, I am Nazir TL. You can just call me Jacob on here, though. And we're just gonna get into some random topics today. I don't think we particularly have a set theme today, but it doesn't matter.
I've got something to show the class. So my girlfriend and I went to Five and Below. It's like a little dollar store. I don't know if you have them up there, but I bought this tube little like amplifier thing that's really interesting to me. It's got
tube.
Yeah, it's like a tube. So it's a non-electric amplifier. So what it is it's a cool. It's supposed to be like a little retro TV, right? And what you do is you take your phone, right? And and you put it in speaker side first. Yeah. Like that. And then on this side over here, there's a little tube that takes the sound from the speaker and then amplifies it out of that little speaker spot on the TV. That's kind of cool. Yeah. It's like an old like guitar tube amp.
It's kind of like the same theory of putting your phone in a cup, kind of.
Yeah. Basically. Okay. Just kind of uses the resonation to make it louder.
Back when I was thugging it out with just using like my phone Wi-Fi, I didn't have a stand for it. I was a teenager. I was like, I'm not going to spend money on a stand. So I literally just walked over, went in my wallet and got like some generic plastic credit card or like gift card that it was used up.
Yeah.
And just cut it up and bent it into a stand.
I feel that.
I used that thing for like 2 years and no one questioned it except for my ex. They were like, what is that? And I'm like, oh yeah.
That's my phone stand.
This is my phone stand. They're like, they picked it up and they're like, what kind of gift card even is this? And I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know. I don't think it was a gift card. I think it was a hotel room key.
It was Panera Bread.
Panera Bread. Fueled by German sourdough.
God. Down south here, we have a place that's like a competitor to Panera Bread. This is called Atlanta Bread Company.
Are they good?
I've never been. Doesn't expressly appeal to me. I always think of places like that as pretty overpriced for what you're getting. That being said, what I've had from Panera I do like, but...
Alright, hear me out, okay. Right?
Yes.
I have a legitimate question for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it would be funny to wait until the podcast, and not because I just thought of it just now.
I
have a spare GoPro that can shoot in like 1440p video.
I feel that.
It's a little cube. It's like it can fit on. It can fit within this little roll of electrical tape.
Yeah, I got you.
Literally just sticks in there. I should send it to you and have you do like random vlogs during your weird Uber experiences.
I should. I could technically...
That would be very interesting. Even if you didn't like put it up anywhere and we just used it to reference in these stories or like for shorts. I think that would be really fun.
I feel that. Yeah, I would do that for
and
sure.
Also, if you ever feel threatened in your Uber, you can just turn it on.
Yeah, that's fair. That's what I was going to say is I can register it as a dash cam, technically. They accept GoPro, I'm pretty sure, is one of the ones that you can. That way I could like legally have it on if I was so inclined. Yeah. But I'll have to look into the legality of that. I don't want to get fired because someone's mad that I'm filming the road. Because ain't like it's going to be focused on us. Because I do believe Alabama's a two-party consent state, so I couldn't film riders, of course, and I wouldn't want to anyway. That feels invasive, but
it does feel weird.
But like, I can film the road, and like if I go in places, I could film it and stuff. I could just strap it to my hat.
True. If you'd be interested in that, I bought it for airsoft years ago when I was first getting into it. And of course, I have my new one now, which I use as webcam, multimedia purposes, and finagling stuff. The other one, I just lend it out to people. I don't think I have a need to use it solely because I have my better one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that.
So I got it for like $30, even though it was definitely supposed to be around like $90.
Fair.
And the person who sold it just didn't know that.
I can understand that.
I'd send it to you free of charge because you're my buddy. Well, I had something to talk about, but then I forgot. So,
we need episodes, and we need time to record those episodes, which are two things we don't currently have. I, however, am actively shitting blood due to hemorrhoids, and Jacob is also not feeling well. So we're kind of just slugging through this.
We're kind of out of sorts. I will say, I don't know what it was, but it was something about Friday when I'm glad that you were like, I don't want to film today, because I also didn't want to film, but I was going to do it if you were going to do it, kind of thing. But I didn't want to film sitting at my desk doing this. I didn't even want to leave the house. But I still, like, I got up, I did my workout. It gave me a little bit of motivation.
I feel that.
And I went and filmed a short film that, I'll be honest, podcast exclusive. I came up with that short film in like 5 minutes. And within 5 minutes, I already knew the plot, how it was going to go, how each transition was going to work, just because I knew the layout of the set we were going to use. I think it'll be interesting. It's obviously not going to be no Picasso piece of art kind of thing, but it's my first short film. I think it'll at least be a good watch for the Nazir TL channel, and who knows, I might even decide to put it up here on the Fluffy Biscuits channel.
That's
just
fair.
For good content.
Yes, and you can get the unrated version over on pornhub.com/NazirTL. Something
crazy that I didn't really expect is I went into it thinking it was going to be like a 3-minute short film, which is dumb looking back on it now, considering what I wanted to get accomplished in it. Because I literally looked at my friend Noah, who's playing the main character, acted it out for me. He's my guinea pig for any sort of videos I want to do in the past and in the future. I looked down and I was like, yeah, my goal is to at least have it be 5 minutes, even if the 5 minutes is with like a title card and credits. And then I have the draft go up, and I'm like, I'm not really going to cut anything from it. I'm just going to add edits to it to make it run smoother. Fine-tune some color corrections. Add in sound or FX and posts and stuff like that. It's like 10 minutes. It's double what I thought it was going to be. Or what I wanted it to be. I didn't even try. And I also have so many outtakes where we didn't really like mess up in any way. It was just sort of like, oh, I started too earlier. Oh, Josh missed his cue for this certain thing that happens. And we were like, okay, but I think that would be interesting to put in like the funny moments in a short reel or bloopers at the very end of the short film.
I gotcha.
You saw it without giving anything away. I know you've already told me your opinions on it, but you want to say anything on the pod?
Like I said when I brought it up with you, I guess to give anybody a kind of feeling on it, I'll say I believe it's Oompaville, the YouTuber, and some of the guys like Mr. Gigi and stuff. I don't particularly watch them, but I know that they do a lot of series where a lot of times they'll go on YouTube and watch fan or indie produced like little short films, usually horror, which is what yours is aimed at. And And I'd say that from the...
It's like a horror comedy. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine. From the handful of those things that I've seen by watching them react to scary shit, I'd say it's on par with like most of what you see on YouTube in terms of like the little like home movie short films and stuff like that. And I think that the real trick to a lot of those is the stuff you haven't done yet, which is like audio cues and atmospheric sound and like that kind of stuff, because like the filming is great. Like the filming looks great and stuff, and the shots themselves are really nice. And I think that most of those kind of films that I'd say like 65% of those kind of films that show up on YouTube tend to be pretty well shot, because I think that, and I don't mean like good shots in general, I just mean like it looks crisp and it's not blurry or anything like that. The shots are nice in yours, but I'm not saying that that's true for all of them, but most of them are shot in high quality. And so I think with that, when you shoot something in high quality, it can be real hard to lose that like indie amateur kind of feel, because while the shots are in like top quality, the actual like the panning, the effects, the like the transitions, right, they all have a more amateur feeling. And so when you make a short film like that, I think it's really important to focus on the audio stuff, and I have not heard the audio stuff yet, so I can't speak to
true.
that. But definitely,
I haven't added any audio stuff because I think you're making a cameo in it.
That's fair.
Get those. Yeah, there are a few scenes in it that I'll say here. There's like the very beginning really irks me. There's like a slow like walk away from down a hallway kind of thing.
Yeah.
It irks me because I had all the settings correct on it. Mm-hmm. And it still was shaky. And I was like, I don't know. It was like it was trying to focus on something that wasn't there, which is even more ominous. So I'm like, I'm going to have to add... It bugs me that much that I'm going to add some sort of blur to it to sort of negate the feeling that it was a bad shot.
Yeah.
Because I don't have anything else to put there.
No, I definitely feel that. How did you do that slow zoom? Did you set the camera up at the end of the hallway and zoom it in and then pull it back, or did you manually walk backwards with it?
So I filmed it all on a GoPro. I'll say that for the people. I filmed it on the GoPro Hero 9, and one of the things it has is hyper smooth, which essentially acts as like a gimbal.
Yeah, I got you.
And it automatically does it as you're going. And so I have to assume it was some sort of focusing error.
Yeah.
Because all that was set up, and it's not in most of the other shots when I do that. It was just that one particular take. I had it on a handle. I'll use this Apple Pencil I was using for stuff earlier. And I was just slowly walking it back to the point.
I gotcha.
Because I knew where he was going to exit from. And I wanted to get it in one take, so it's like smooth. It goes walking back, stops. He's in frame, and then like he comes out. That's what I wanted to happen. I know I would change it if I could, but peepo poof. I care about it enough, but I'm gonna make it work in post.
No,
and just take that into account for whatever next short film I have planned.
Yeah. That definitely makes sense.
Yep.
I want to discuss something that I have been meaning to discuss for several episodes, but I recently am feeling very sick to my stomach right now, so everybody bear with me. But I recently 100%ed Saints Row, the new one, the 2022 one, and holy shit, I just need everyone to understand how fucking infuriating that game is. It is like somebody sat down and was like, let's make Saints Row new. Let's make it fresh. Let's make it appeal to the younger generation, maybe. Not necessarily the people that played it originally.
Yeah.
But holy shit, the physics in that game are some of the buggiest, most obnoxious things I have ever seen in a video game. And I'm bringing it up because I would 100%ed it because I do genuinely think it's a personally good game. I don't think it's as good as Saints Row has been in the past. I think it's better than 3 and 4 in my opinion. But I don't think it's as good as 2 was, which in my opinion was the best. But they took a lot of like the wacky comedy out of it, kind of made it a little more like PG comedy instead of like that irreverent like South Park humor style it had for the first few games. And I liked that because I personally thought the humor in 3 and 4 specifically was pretty obnoxious. But I beat it with a friend, and it's just co-op actually worked all right most of the time. But it's like, that's the thing, there's so much funny shit in the game, like entertaining shit, and when you like are doing a mission that you've been excited to do, and then your car stops, bounces into the ground, and then explodes and flies up 100 feet, and you just fail the mission you've been doing for an hour. It's like, oof. I have to give the game at least a 6 because I had fun with it, but it's like I would not recommend anyone play it.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, it didn't receive a very good welcome, and now Volition, the company that made them, is bankrupt or dissolved in some way. So
I felt the same way about the Cyberpunk 2077. It's like I enjoyed it. I know, for instance, right, they released an update and they came out and said this is how we wanted the game to come out.
Yeah, it just came out a month
it just came out. I think, what is it, 2 years after it's released?
Yeah.
I can only... I enjoy the fact that they kept updating it. I hate the fans that were like, stop delaying it. Because I feel like when a game company wants to make something really good, you need to give them time for it.
Yeah.
There are a lot of game companies that would have pumped it out willingly without fighting, kind of thing. But they delayed it so many times. I feel like they were, and the fan base was so adamant that they needed to just release it, that I feel like they were just like, if we don't release it, we might lose sales. Yeah, kind of thing.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. I think that kind of the flip side of that for me is No Man's Sky. Like, in its current state, I believe if I went out and bought No Man's Sky for the first time, I would thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah.
That being said, because I played so much of it on launch, I played it for months after it came out, even though it wasn't that good and it wasn't that popular. I played it for a good while, and then eventually there was multiplayer, and I played it with some friends. But, oh, not done. But ultimately, I just fell off it, and then it was like, oh, there's like building now, and I played it for a little bit, and I was like, yeah, but all the other stuff is still kind of the same. And it's like,
yeah,
just that. I think that's kind of the problem when, for me, obviously not for everybody, and No Man's Sky is a pretty respected game now, and Hello Games or Helium Games, whatever they're called, they've earned a lot of community respect back for sure. But I just think that a game comes out and it's buggy and problematic, or it's boring and there's not much to do, I'll try to milk as much fun out of it as I can. And then when it comes to, if it gets fixed or there's a huge expansion or an update or whatever, I tend not to go back because I'm like, well, that part's cool, but I already have done most of the other shit still. And even then, it's like, I have some problems with No Man's Sky even still to this day. Like, for one, it just feels dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel like there's much going on in the entire universe. It's like there's no like big cities on any of these planets. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe there are now if there's been another update. But to my knowledge, it's like, you know, you travel from the space station to space station. Nothing ever happens on the planets. It's just kind of Yeah.
I Josh on my friend Noah a lot. Like, I pick at him a lot for random things, just because he self-reports. That's besides the point. I remember when I first met him. I think it was like a year after we started hanging out. Because No Man's Sky came out in what, like 2016?
That sounds right. 2015, 2016.
He was like, "This is going to be the best game that has ever been made," something like that. And I was like, I hate to tell you this, bud, but No Man's Sky is not going to be that great of a game. And he's like, "No, it's going to be great. You shut your mouth. You'll see." And he just keeps hyping it up. Now, to play fair, right, I think at a certain point he looked into it and he was like, "Oh, this isn't going to be great." So he didn't say it was going to be the greatest game anymore. But I distinctly remember him saying it's going to be the greatest game like this year. Something along those lines. And it came out and he was like, "I had fun with it for a little bit, and then I got bored really fast."
No, I
don't think he's turned it on in quite a while. It's almost like a Starfield, the recent game that came out by like Bethesda. Okay, this one actually does irk me a little bit on the things of what people expect from certain games, because Starfield is a Bethesda game.
Yeah.
It's about space. It's about all this stuff, obviously. Like, you know how it goes. But it's a Bethesda game. It's an RPG. It's going to be Skyrim, Fallout, but in space.
Yeah.
And people were upset that there's loading screens going into the planet, and then the planet randomly generates. But you can only go like 5 miles out.
Yeah.
And then you have to leave. But if you leave and just land somewhere else on the planet, it generates 5 miles out again.
Yeah.
And people were mad at that. And I'm like, okay, hear me out, people. Hear me out. If you're mad at this, why don't you go buy Star Citizen, that's been in the works for like, 15 years or something crazy.
Yeah.
Not even fully developed. Story not complete. And computers can barely run it, and try and run that on your Xbox.
Yeah, no, I certainly feel that. Yeah, I remember they released what's not released but announced, because I was in a group with a couple of friends that played games pretty regularly together when Star Citizen first, like, not first was announced by any means, but first came out in like a pseudo playable like realm, right? So maybe like 3 years ago or 4 years ago. And I was the only one in the group not to buy it. I refused to give that company any money. And I don't know, man. I got completely off it, just entirely. That game is such a fucking money grab, nothing burger. I was just, nah. And I ragged on everybody every time they play it.
Sorry, I had a message. I was listening.
No, you're fine. A game that does the opposite of that, of No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk for me, though, is Fallout 76. I know it gets ragged on a lot, and they definitely have some like predatory monetary things, like every online game does nowadays. But I started playing that when it launched in 2018, I think, 2017. And
something like that.
I didn't like it at first because, it was lacking a lot of content. But, man, they've gone through 16 updates now. And I'm a huge fan. I made Mallory get PlayStation Plus on her PS4 so she could play it. I got one of my best friends that I play on the PlayStation with. I got him to get it. I got another one of my close friends to get it on her PS4. And I love it. The thing is, too, it's one of those games where there's enough to do, especially because of all the updates at this point. There's enough to do and enough to invest in without my biggest pet peeve with MMOs, which is like spec building. I hate that shit. I hate it. Even back in the day, like 06 playing WoW, I fucking was like, I'd get to like just nearly top level and everybody, and I just, I got, I think top level like once. I started doing a lot of raids and stuff, and I was just like, I suck compared to everyone else doing this raid, and people would be like, well, you know, you just didn't like, you don't have the right gear, you're just not using the right skills. Like, but I've already done all this. It's like, I made a character the way I want to do it. So now you're telling me that the game's gonna punish me essentially and not let me be as effective as I want to be because I didn't read a Wikipedia page for 2 hours about how to make sure I had a high strength, low agility, double backburn, bloody shaman build. And same way I felt about RuneScape. I fucking hated RuneScape because of that.
It's funny, you're like, I hate spec building and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is like just before we started planning out the podcast. Mm-hmm. In June, Diablo 4 came out.
Yes.
Right. I love that game. I love that game so much. I love it. So my room in my house, my computer room, office, whatever you want to call it, it is on the opposite side of the house from like the thermostat. Mm-hmm. And that side of the house gets cooler, or they make it cooler in that side of the house naturally, right?
Yeah. So
the AC doesn't turn on because the thermostat doesn't ping it.
Yeah.
It's not as hot. Dude, in my room, it was fucking toasted.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in here playing Diablo 4. It's dark. It's pitch black outside. It's pitch black in my room. I swear it's 90 degrees in here.
I feel that.
Door closed. The GPU is surviving, not thriving.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much. And I am in full gremlin mode. I had a notepad. I had it. It's on the desk somewhere. It's probably behind my monitors, but I had a notepad. I'm just sitting here, and I'll use this as my prop. I'm sitting there. I'm writing. I'm like, okay, I'm going to use my bow and lance, because I was going necromancer at first. I'm like, okay. I put 2 points in the bow and lance. That really fucking helped me. And I put 1 point in the blight. That was amazing. And I'm just like taking notes, and I'm like, oh, the blood mist though, that didn't work out so well. So I'm just going to X that out. I'm just writing it down, because the thing is when Diablo 4 came out, that there was also the first 100 people in hardcore to beat the game and get level 100. Mm-hmm. Got their name on a statue outside of Blizzard. And I got a character up to like level 50 in hardcore. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much as far as I got.
Yeah.
With that, because I was no-lifing it. I really was. It was go to sleep for 2 hours, wake up, and it was just Diablo. And I was like, this is the only game I will sit here and do this with.
Yeah.
Because I just can't get into other games. I'm just like, I don't know, something about it. And when I say gremlin mode, I mean absolute mongrel.
Yeah.
I'm sitting like in the dark, shirtless. It's so hot in my room, I didn't want anything warm to eat.
Yeah.
I needed something to cool down, but I didn't want like ice cream or something. So I went in my freezer and I would eat like frozen waffles or frozen toaster strudels just to survive back here.
That's fair.
Because it was June, so it was quite hot.
No, that's the thing. I've gotten into games kind of to that level, not to that level, but to shut away 8 hours a day playing it kind of level before. But like, I guess it's just there's a difference between a game like Fallout 7, well, not really Fallout 76, but a game like WoW, I haven't played modern WoW, so I don't know what it's like anymore. Or like back in the day, Guild Wars is a good example. EverQuest was a good example, where it was like when you were making your character, everything had to be like
perfect.
Set the way you want it. And then I compare that to a lot of other games because it's like, Divinity Original Sin, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, I haven't played 3, Neverwinter Nights, Dragon Age, Mass Effect, the Elder Scrolls series.
You can play it however you want.
Yeah, exactly. And so Fallout 76 has the ability for you to do that. You're not going to be as good as you want to be without kind of setting up your build, but like as long as you do it right, or as long as you're keeping it up to your level and stuff, you're generally fine. Now that being said,
Yeah.
I've played about 200 hours of Fallout 76, and I'm level 95.
It's a good bit.
I saw a guy recently that was level 1372.
Yeah. That's pretty high.
Because I've done 90, like I said, I've done like 100 and almost 200 hours, and almost 200 hours, and and even through all this 200 hours, I'm level 95. And it's like, holy shit. The fucking,
yeah.
I'll see a guy on that's like level 900 or 1100, and it's like, that's the people that are doing spec builds.
I do feel like for game, because Diablo is not necessarily comparable to WoW. It's not like the same niche, I guess. It's similar, but I wouldn't put it in the same type of vein, because I feel like WoW, the main aspect you want to do in that game is you want to be in a guild, you want to play with people, do raids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But with Diablo, you don't have to do that. You can play solo perfectly fine. And you don't need to look up any builds or anything. I think that was the first time I did it, solely because I wanted to make sure I remembered how well a certain build did. Because the game was so new, there was barely anything out. But I feel like the reason why there are spec builds like that is because whenever you have a game like Elder Scrolls Online, WoW, and it's that type of loot drop game, MMO, it's multiplayer, massive multiplayer online. The difference between having a single player game where it's just you playing in a story, or even like a co-op game where you're playing in a story, and a game with multiple, like a massive online community all playing at once, PvP areas, is that there's more players that want to be on top of other players.
Yeah.
And so spec builds are literally just people who know life and sit there and they're like using their math degrees to figure out which percents are going to give them the best edge over everyone else.
Yeah,
and
I
just post it online.
I definitely feel that. I think that one thing, talking about it a little bit, that when you're talking about co-op stuff, that I thought Larian Studios did really cool that I've never really seen again. Well, kind of. There's one other comparable game, I guess, but was Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, especially 2, that had up to 4-person co-op, right?
Yeah.
And I played and beat that with myself, Audrey, and 2 of our mutual friends back when I was dating her. And that was awesome. I think that the choice of company I played the game with had a little bit to do with my personal, not so much enjoyment of it, but that concept to me is awesome. I'd love to play, and all I mean by that is I was playing with a much older friend of mine who did not grasp most of the controls in that game, and so his turns would tend to take quite a while. He's just not good at video games. Great guy, love him to death.
Because I'm like,
didn't start
most
playing
of the
video
controls
games
are on the screen.
What
do you mean?
Didn't start playing video games till he was like 45. So,
oh my god.
But so he's got a lot of catching up to do. But no, I think that there needs to be more like co-op games where you are all mutually in the story, like Original Sin.
I agree.
Does. Because there's one kind of similar game called Solasta, and it's like a D&D emulating kind of game where it's like it comes with a full campaign. You can play with, I think, up to 4 people, but you basically use all the tools available in it. It's called Solasta Crown of the Magister, and you use the tools available to build campaigns, and then you run them in the game with.
This is why I'm saying you would love Baldur's Gate 3. It's made by Larian Studios.
Yeah, I know I would.
It's the same exact
literally,
format.
it requires more space than my solid state drive even has. And on Steam, it says it has to be on a solid state drive. I have
I'm gonna buy you a solid state drive.
I have literally no avenue to play this game. But
Tell me how many ports you got on your PC. I'm gonna buy you one.
But so it's like I understand that like that game would definitely be up my alley. But more importantly, it's like I think that that like is kind of why Fallout 76 appealed to me originally, was I was like, it's Fallout, and it's with a bunch of people. Sounds great. And then of course, you know, they hit you with the no updates for a while they fix everything. The game's buggy. There's microtransactions. Blah 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 blah. So it's just like, I don't know. I'm waiting for somebody to come out and be like, yeah, this is. You know, because I think a lot of companies are starting to like look at that as like a legitimate thing. You know, Rockstar did it with GTA 5, GTA Online. They did it with Red Dead Redemption 2. They did Red Dead Online, which both became very popular. They did it with, or not them, but, you know, Bethesda did it with the Elder Scrolls, and then they did it with Fallout. And it's like a lot of these games, I would much rather just have the ability to play the story co-op instead of having a completely separate MMO kind of thing that you're gonna make me participate in if I want to play with friends, especially GTA and Red Dead were pretty toxic online games.
Oh, absolutely. I like Elder Scrolls Online. I enjoy the concept, and the only thing that I really love about that is the center of the whole map is just a giant PvP area for the 3 factions. I love that idea so much.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I played it, and it led to the most... I don't even know how to describe it, because I remember being in stealth mode with me and my friend Trey, and we're just like... we were running up a hill, and I'm like, Trey, I see the... whoever Dominion, it's like the yellow one.
The Aldmeri Dominion,
Yeah, I see their like yellow symbols all
Yeah.
running through the road, and I'm just up on the hill, and I'm like, Trey, stealth right now, and they're all running around us. It was at least 100 of them,
Yeah.
and I'm like, Trey, we would not survive this.
No, I feel that. I got into the Elder Scrolls Online pretty good for a hot minute, and then I kind of fell off when I started trying to do Fallout 76, and then it was so bad, I fell off that, took a break from MMOs, and I'm back on Fallout.
Yeah, I can see, you know, ESO being really fun to play. Mm-hmm. I feel like you need a lot of people to play at the same time for it to be truly exciting. Josh right now is trying to gather the whole friend group to play Guild Wars 2 for some reason.
It's an old-ass game.
Yeah, I know, but it's free now,
yeah.
So I'm like, that. It sounds fun if we can get everyone in on it.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of older game titles are really fun. I'm peeking, or at least I saw I'm peeking. I'm turning this down a little bit. A lot of older multiplayer games are really fun to play now if you have like a big friend group playing it.
Yeah. Because you don't have the same, like, there's not a lot of people that are there beyond just love of the game at that point.
Yeah.
And I think that's
it's like when MW2 came back, like the original one, like they turned the servers back on and everyone was like, we're getting on it, boys.
Yeah.
I was so tempted to buy that game on Steam until I saw it was still $60 and I was like, no.
Oh, I feel that.
Not for a game from 2009? No, thank you.
I feel that though. I've paid some pretty exorbitant prices for old games only to play them like 3 times and never touch them again.
The other thing is like with games, it's really interesting because there are no. I think Diablo 4 was the only game that I sat there and like went full Gremlin mode.
Yeah.
I don't think the. What the fuck? Okay, my cat was doing something weird. It looked like a monster in the other room. There isn't a game that I can remember that I went full Gremlin mode on since like 11/11/11 Skyrim first drop.
Yeah, I got you.
And I think I went no life on that, but then I was in middle school. So I believe I think I went no life on it for like a weekend or something and then went back.
Yeah.
And then no life did on Thanksgiving.
I certainly feel that.
I will say I was a little gremlin as well. That was a little gremlin as well, where I would just, some days, I'm sure every kid has this, or every person has this when they're younger. I would just wake up and be like, I'm not going to school today. But I took it to an extreme where I'd wake up every day at a week at a time and be like, nah, not today.
I feel that. I feel like if I had not, obviously, and I'm sure you did too at times, but it's like, if my mom hadn't like always been on top of me about it, I definitely would have in high school, especially stayed home a lot more. But I went to a special high school for 11th to 12th grade where I went Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So it wasn't that bad.
That makes sense. I'm not going to say what grade it was, but for a certain grade in high school, actually for 2 grades of my high school, my English teachers were just non-existent. And we had substitutes the whole year. So for 2 years of my high school life in English, I learned how to use commas.
Well.
And that's it.
That's fair. I still don't know how to use a semicolon.
Yeah, I don't even call it semicolon. I call it something else. I call those things 2 dot or dot with a squiggle.
I feel that, yes.
And
I will say that I think it's about time that we wrap this episode up because I personally, I don't know about Jacob or anything, but I personally am definitely going to throw up in the next 2 minutes. So we're going to go ahead. Okay. We're going to go ahead and call this before I puke everywhere. So, damn it. Oh, I didn't even think to have the outro stuff ready. Oh, no. Oh, this is a race against the clock for sure.
Here, you leave, I'll outro it.
But I know I gotta stop recording and stuff, so I don't actually record it. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been the Fluffy Biscuits podcast. I am quite sick today. I'm quite sick today. Oh, goodness. You can check me out on YouTube. My name is Zach at Pixelated Trash. You can check out Jacob on YouTube at NazirTL. Thank you to the credits down in the in the descriptions for the music. and if you want to see the video version, you can find it on YouTube at the Fluffy Biscuits podcast. If you want to see the audio version, you wouldn't see it, you would just hear it. Then you can find that over on Spotify at the Fluffy Biscuits podcast. And we are so grateful for you all to watch, and if I don't make it back for next week, then I apologize.
Yep. I just want to say, leave a big thank you down in the comments or the email for Zach for thugging it out, even though he is deathly ill right now. He's dying. We didn't want to address it.
I know I don't. Probably am at this point. All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Bye.